So the Hyatt Hotel Rewards program is my absolute favorite one because it's the last of kind of the main hotels that doesn't have a dynamic award chart, meaning that everything has been decided for you in terms of how many points per night it's going to cost you to stay at certain hotels. Hyatt has a 1 through 8 category in terms of how much it costs for those hotels, with those category 1s being as low as 3,500 points and then those category 8 hotels being as much as 45,000 points per night. Now the Park Hyatt is a category 8 hotel with off-peak at 35,000, the standard at 40,000, and then the peak times in terms of the award chart at 45,000 points per night, which is again, you can stay at a category 1 hotel for almost 15 nights for that, peak timing for a Park Hyatt. But as I mentioned in the very beginning, the Park Hyatt brand is going to be the #1 and flagship brand of the entire Hyatt ecosystem. So they have it at most major cities. I know they have it in DC, in New York, in LA, in Miami, and for the most part, they are amazing hotels. So there's a couple ways to earn these points. The first one's going to be to sign up for their free Hyatt account to start earning points on dollar spend inside of Hyatt properties, as well as getting awarded for staying and paying cash for those nights. Secondly is going to be with the Hyatt credit card, which is a credit card that I personally don't have, but they have some decent multipliers, and if you're planning on staying at just Hyatt hotels, it is a great card to actually get into because you do get 30,000 points after spending, I believe, $3,000 or $4,000, and then you get an additional 30,000 points at 2 points per dollar spent over the next $15,000. So you could end up earning a good enough amount of points to stay at something like the Park Hyatt. But the best way to earn these points, in my opinion, is going to be through the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal, because they're one of 2 credit card programs that can transfer directly to Hyatt at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now with Chase, you do get a bunch of different ways to earn these points by getting sign-up bonuses. For instance, I just signed up for the Business Preferred card, and if you spend $8,000 over the first 3 months, I get 120,000 points, meaning that I can stay at the Park Hyatt for 3 total nights during standard times. And then you also have the Built Rewards program, which is a 0-fee annual card, and you do get rewarded for actually paying your rent, and they also transfer to Hyatt a 1-to-1 ratio, but they don't really have any sign-up bonuses that we know of. So now that we know how to earn those points, in order to redeem them points, it's actually very simple. I transferred over 34,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points to my Hyatt account. I already had 6,000 Hyatt points sitting in there, and we spent 40,000 points for one night to stay at the Park Hyatt. And as I said, depending on when you're staying, it could be 35,000 points or up to 45,000 points for one night at this hotel. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Fernando, 40,000 points for a hotel stay, especially with the Hyatt Thompson being right down the road at I believe only 28 or 27,000, is pretty expensive for one night at one hotel. But if you start to look at the actual dollar cost of this Hyatt hotel, you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for a standard room at the Hyatt in New York City. So if you start to do the cent per point conversion, even at the lowest price point, you're still getting at least 2.2 cents per point and upwards of maybe even 4 cents per point if you are staying at some of those peak times and you're spending 40,000 points at a $2,000 a night. I actually think that's 5 cents per point if you start to do the math, which is a great conversion value, and that's what I look for. Anything above 2 cents per point is an absolute win in my book. And one final thing I will mention about the Hyatt program before we get into the review of the hotel is that I actually made this my 5th branded Hyatt hotel, or the 5th different brand of Hyatts that I was able to stay at, and that gives you an additional free night. Hyatt members have an awesome perk, whereas if you stay at 5 different brands at Hyatt hotels, after that 5th stay, you do get a free night at any Hyatt hotel category 1 through 4, so it kind of incentivizes you to explore all the different brands that Hyatt has to offer, which is an awesome thing, and I believe that's called the Brand Explorer, and it's absolutely free to sign up. So even if you're paying cash for these hotels and you stay at 5 different brands of Hyatts, over pretty much any time period, because again, this doesn't reset every single year, then you do get that free night at a category 1 through 4, as you can see with this screenshot, so I'll definitely be using that in the future. So now let's quickly get into the review of the Park Hyatt in New York City. I'm going to start to rate these out of 10 at the very end of the video, at the very end of the review, but I want to walk you guys through exactly what the experience was like. So when you walk into the Park Hyatt, and keep in mind, this is Manhattan, so everything is going to be a much smaller, a little bit more compact, because there's not a lot of room, not a lot of space. So when I show you the room for Manhattan standards, it's actually huge when it comes to hotel rooms. So the moment you walk into the Park Hyatt, you kind of feel this sense of luxury because you are staying at their most premium hotel. You have people waiting to take your luggage, you have people waiting to open the door for you, welcoming you, smiling at you. So things that are considered the soft products, so the service, the customer service, the hospitality of it all is definitely going to be an A+ for me, because everything was very welcoming, they guided you everywhere, they didn't kind of expect anything from you, which is awesome. So you walk right in, and then the lobby isn't actually on the first floor, it's actually on the 3rd floor, and that's where you check in. So standard, the check-in time is 4 p.m., but they were able to take us at around 2 p.m. But in the lobby, you have the lobby itself, of course, the check-in, you also have a concierge, and you have their restaurant and bar right there. So they do have one restaurant and bar kind of combo in the actual hotel, and that's going to be your one choice if you do want to dine in at the hotel itself. After we checked in, we were on the 12th floor, and a little bit of a pro tip here, if you're staying at this particular hotel, ask for a north-facing room, because it does give you the windows inside of the bathroom itself for some decent views, and again, just a little bit more natural light versus the south-facing rooms, there's no windows at all in the bathroom, so a little bit of a pro tip there. And then when you walk into the room itself, it's divided into two different sections. You have your little walkway in the middle, with a little spot to put your keys and kind of the stuff in your pocket, then right in front of you, you have the bar itself. To the left, you have two different closets, and to the left is where the bedroom is, right? So it's not really broken up. It's kind of an open concept situation. You do have a king-size bed. Everybody has a nightstand. You have a little desk to get some work done. You have a flat-screen TV, and you do have a little window to be able to see outside. Now, our view wasn't amazing. We didn't get to see anything too much because, again, we were only on the 12th floor, and this is an area that has kind of huge skyscrapers, but we did get some natural light. And what I like about it is that the blinds and everything are all automatic, so with a push of a button, you can open your own blinds while still seated in bed, which is a nice thing to have. And then on the other side is going to be the bathroom. It does have these nice double doors you slide open. You do have a soak-in tub, which is huge, that we took full advantage of with the little window there. You have his and her sinks. Then you also have the actual bathroom itself, and then finally the huge shower, which is basically a giant shower room. It does have the waterfall shower on top, and there's even a mirror in there and a little seat in there, which is kind of cool to see. So kind of everything is very tight, very luxurious, and it's very welcoming to be there. And for this size room, I believe it was like 600 square feet. This is gigantic, especially for a standard room at any hotel in Manhattan. And then as I mentioned, the thing here is going to be service, so anything that we needed, we just called and they brought it up within 5 minutes, like if we needed a bucket of ice or needed some hygiene materials or some extra pillows, which is all things that we ordered over the span of 24 hours that we were there, and they brought it up within 5 minutes and everybody was very gracious, very nice, and they asked us if we needed anything else. So that was a beautiful thing to see. And in terms of amenities inside the actual hotel, their bread and butter is going to be their pool, which is an indoor pool on the 25th floor with some awesome views and panoramic kind of windows, floor to ceiling, and then some. I actually went in there to kind of check it out. It is a saltwater pool, and it got pretty full after 9 a.m., which is kind of surprising. And they also have a nice gym facility for the hotel itself. And again, this is Manhattan, so everything is a little bit smaller, but for Manhattan standards, you are getting a bunch when it comes to what you're getting at a hotel. But outside of that, there wasn't much else to do in this hotel. Like I said, there was the one bar, the one restaurant, the pool, but if you wanted to do anything else, you would actually have to leave. Again, this is very much a come and stay and kind of stay and relax. There isn't much else to do inside of the hotel itself, so the amenities, even though the amenities that they had were great, still a little bit lacking in terms of the quantity of amenities. And then the final thing I will mention is that they did allow us to have a late checkout, even though we don't have any status with Hyatt. They gave us a 1 p.m. late checkout. We got there at 2 p.m. and left at 1 p.m. the next day, and that is where the 40,000 Hyatt points were spent. But that will do it for this video, everybody. Let me know in the comment down below. Would you spend 40,000 Hyatt points or 40,000 credit card points in order to stay at any hotel? You know, even if it wasn't a Park Hyatt, maybe a Ritz-Carlton, or maybe whatever Hilton has, like the Conrad and things like that. Let me know in the comment down below. Me, for the most part, I usually wouldn't spend that many points on one hotel stay. It was kind of a local thing. It was for staycation, and I've been wanting to try the Park Hyatt. And like I mentioned earlier, I knew that this was giving me the first free night for my Brand Explorer status because this was going to be my 5th different branded Hyatt hotel, so I would get at least some sort of value back after spending those 40,000, because I believe a Category 4 hotel at peak time is around 24,000 points. So again, if you really do the effective fee, it only really cost me 16,000 points to stay at the Park Hyatt, if you think about it that way. But that'll do it. Leave some comments down below, and if you made it to the end, leave a little credit card in the comments down below, and let me know if you like this format of video. I'm going to start reviewing the hotels more frequently like this because I like to kind of give people a reference. I was looking for more Park Hyatt content, but couldn't find too much to begin with. That'll do it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.